do a dopamine detox to skyrocket your motivation levels. I'm going to tell you all about it in this video. But first, my name is Cody, and I help men to build the confidence, the aesthetic body, and the masculine strength to become the best versions of themselves. And in this video, I'm going to tell you how you can do a dopamine detox to skyrocket your motivation levels. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is released into the brain that makes us feel good. It's a neurotransmitter that's released when you do something that is positive, rewarding, pleasurable. There's a problem where nowadays we get these dopamine hits without actually working. We are currently in a place where we have these constant battering and barrages of social media, TV, advertisement, podcasts. We have video games. Now there's this hyperstimulation of pornography that's lighting up all these reward centers of our brain and constantly firing dopamine without us actually having to do work. So now we're getting these hits of dopamine without actually having to do the work. And so what this does is it overactivates the centers of our brain that processes dopamine. And it's a problem because as we overload the dopamine in our brains, there's a negative feedback loop that happens. So if we're constantly flooding your brain with dopamine, if you're constantly looking at porn, playing video games, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, if you're constantly doing these things that are activating dopamine in your brain, it sort of burns out, it overwhelms your brain with dopamine. What it does is it then makes normal stimulus that would make you feel good, make you feel motivated. It completely drains that. It saps your motivation. So even though you might think doing drugs, doing alcohol, looking at porn, playing video games, scrolling on social media, that these things make you feel good in the short term, what it does is it ultimately in the long term destroys your dopamine. It destroys your motivation. This is the biggest problem with this sort of lifestyle that is trying to make you feel good, giving you these rewards without actually having to work for things. So then after you've burnt out your dopamine centers and you're constantly overstimulated, now you've lost any motivation to work on your life project, to actually have ambitions to do work, to create something, or you lose your motivation to go to the gym. You lose your motivation to actually get up and do something with your life. And that's a big problem because you can sit around and you can get these hits of dopamine just by laying in bed and scrolling on your phone. That's completely unnatural. And this is a big problem that I see with so many men today because they're burning themselves out. They don't have motivation. They're constantly distracted and they're addicted to these things because dopamine hits are addictive. That's why social media is addictive, is because you can sit there, look at the bright blue light, scroll on the screen with all the colors and endlessly keep scrolling. You're looking at half naked women, or you're playing a video game that gives you these constant rewards that makes you feel like you're actually accomplishing something when you're doing nothing but sitting there playing on your damn phone. It's a big problem to have these constant rewards without actually having to do the work. So when you can detox dopamine, when you can remove a lot of these stimulus that are giving you these hits of dopamine that you haven't earned, when you can remove those, then you can bring your baseline back down. When you do this, this is when the magic can happen. This is when going to the gym feels like fun. This is when working on your project or your business is rewarding. You feel fulfilled doing this. When you can remove caffeine, you can cut off alcohol, you can remove the drugs if you're using drugs. If you're looking at porn, cut out the porn. If you're playing video games, remove the video games. By going into a state of dopamine detox where you can remove these hits of dopamine that are happening, this is when, for a period of time, honestly, for a period of time, it's going to suck. Say, if you remove coffee, you're smoking weed, you remove your porn, you remove your video games. If you remove all these things at once, yeah, you're not going to be very happy because you're not going to get that hit of dopamine. You're going to be in a period, in a phase where your dopamine levels get to reset, where you can let things come back down, and over a week, 2 weeks, however many times, maybe even 30 days, it may take a period of time where you let your body become used to just being normal again. because we live in this society where there's these constant hits of stimulation. We're constantly being battered and barraged with it's just so many different things that are constantly looking for our attention, constantly looking for the next thing, constantly looking for the drug, the thing that can make you feel good, or food. Sugar is another thing that causes dopamine levels to be really high. So people can get addicted to sugar. That can sap their motivation as well. So dopamine is known as the neurotransmitter that is responsible for motivation. So if your dopamine levels are high and you're in a state of higher dopamine, you might be more focused, motivated, driven. You might feel better, more positive. When you remove that for that period of time, you're going to feel unmotivated. You might feel lower energy. Perfect example is coming off of coffee. If you've ever, I love coffee, so I drink a ton of coffee, and there's periods of time where I drink too much coffee. When I get to that point, I just did it recently, last week, I cut out coffee for a couple days and let my baseline come back down, which sucked for a couple days. I was a little lower energy, a little foggier in the head. But after I went through that phase of just detoxifying or just removing that caffeine, that stimulus, it allowed myself to calibrate more of a sensitivity to caffeine, so that the next cup of coffee I had, it was like I had 3 cups of coffee because of how sensitive I was to that, because I removed my tolerance. And that's what happens with these hits of dopamine, as we can get a level of tolerance to it. You build a tolerance so that you're constantly seeking more and more stimulation to give you that feeling of excitement, of pleasure, of giving you that reward, even though it's for a short period of time of detoxifying, of bringing your levels of dopamine back down, of removing the stimulus that causes you to feel the reward without doing the work. When you can do this level of dopamine detox, this is where you can really up level and skyrocket your motivation, because when you've removed the video games, the drugs, the alcohol, the porn, the social media, the TV, when you've removed these things, well, now there's nothing to make you feel good. There's nothing that's going to make you feel excited. All of a sudden, going to the gym sounds like fun. Going outside and going for a run sounds fun. Working on your project and building something sounds like fun, because no longer are you hyperstimulated and getting rewarded from these stimulus causing you to feel rewards. No, you remove those and now you get rewards just from naturally doing the work that you're meant to do. So this is a way that you can get hits of dopamine from your work, from seeing a friend, from going to the gym, from eating well. You can get hits of dopamine the way that you're supposed to get hits of dopamine, rather than this overstimulated world that's seeking your attention. So take your power back. Dopamine detox. Remove dopamine hits that are giving you these pleasure waves without actually doing the work. I challenge you to even just start with a day or a week. Maybe you do 30 days doing some level of dopamine detox to bring your baseline back down. And especially if you're not feeling motivated, if you're feeling like you've lost all sense of motivation for life, if there's nothing that excites you, that gets you up in the morning, might be time to do a dopamine detox to bring your levels back down, to recalibrate, and then see what is it that you are here to do. What do you want to focus on? What do you want to grow? What do you want to develop? What skills do you want to step into and learn? Focus on those. Get your dopamine hits from those. And that's a way that you can brainwash your subconscious mind to actually chase getting better. You can brainwash yourself into being addicted to getting better, addicted to growing, seeking growth, improvement, developing yourself. When you do a dopamine detox, now growing yourself, investing in yourself sounds like fun. You get rewarded for doing work. And this is a way that you can take your control back and program yourself to actually move forward positively, grow yourself, and have extreme levels of motivation. This is a hack. And if you look around you, you'll see so many normal people that I don't want to be like, that are addicted to video games, to porn, to sugar, social media. Don't be like them. Take your control back. Be like you. Be like the person that you want to become, and be motivated, be disciplined, and be committed to actually doing the work and get the results. I encourage you, do a dopamine detox. If you're looking for help with that, comment in the comments below and I can answer any more questions that come up with that. If you're looking for coaching, you can find out more at primalrx.com. You can get the Peak Physique Playbook for free on that website. And if you're looking for the MAP, the Men's Aesthetic Program, you can find a link in the description below or go to primalrx.com/map and you can get on the map there. Again, my name is Cody and I'm helping men become the best versions of themselves. I'll see you in the next one.